With the release of MegaCorp, 4 new megastructures will be added to the game, in addition to the 4 that were already added in Utopia, which of course were the Dyson Sphere, the Science Nexus, the Sentry Array, Buildable Ring Worlds, and Habitats. Now in MegaCorp, we've got 4 new ones, as we've already mentioned. We've got the Matter Decompressor, the Strategic Coordination Center, the Mega Art Installation, and the Interstellar Assembly. In today's video, we're going to have a look at these 4 new megastructures, how much they cost, and what exactly they do. First off, we're going to be talking about the Matter Decompressor. It's basically the mineral version of the Dyson Sphere. Whereas the Dyson Sphere generates energy, the Matter Decompressor gives you minerals over time. Now, the total cost of this particular structure is rather immense, and it also takes about 45 years to put together. Therefore, it's generally advised that with this, as well as every other megastructure in the game, whether or not be MegaCorp or Utopia, that you get the Master Builder's Ascension perk, because it will speed up this process by 50%, effectively cutting all build time of megastructures in half. Now, the Matter Decompressor itself consists of 5 stages. Stage 1 is the platform, which is standard for any megastructure in the game. Costs about 3,000 alloys. That's something you want to keep in mind. Also 300 influence with an upkeep of 5 energy. Now the tiering from this moment onwards is 12,500 alloys per stage. Upkeep is 25, 50, 75, and 100 on every respective stage. The production there is very similar as the Dyson Sphere, where it takes on stage 2. It gets 250 minerals, 500, 750, and finally max it out at 1000. This is of course affected as well by some of your policies that you can do. So for instance, production targets will give you a bonus to the Matter Decompressor output, very similar to the Dyson Sphere as well. Now in total, this is going to take you 45 years to build. Once again, if you've got master builders, this is not so much of a problem because it will effectively be cut in half to 22.5. But at 53,000 alloys, this is a pretty big undertaking right here. And it pretty much is on par with the Dyson Sphere as a production structure. Pretty much a must build if you're going to go down the megastructures route. And it's very important to know that, well, it's going to take time to build these. Second up is the Strategic Coordination Center. Now, the Strategic Coordination Center is very much a building that is an extension of the Galactic Force Projection Ascension perk. Basically, what it does is increases your naval cap, your starbase cap, the amount of defensive platforms you can have on those starbases, and of course, also the amount of speed, and subspace speed that is, that your ships will have. Which is actually really important to know when you build this. If you have a very large empire, and it takes a lot of time for your ships to move from A to B, because you don't have gateways or you don't have wormholes, then this particular building is going to be rather important. Anyway, the Strategic Coordination Center, once again, starts off with 300 influence and 5,000 alloys to build the initial platform, and it gives you about 5 energy upkeep. From there on, every single stage will cost you 15,000 alloys, with a scaling upkeep of 25, 50, and 75. That's basically the max. Unlike the Matter Decompressor, it only has 4 stages, whereas the Matter Decompression has 5. Now, the total cost here is 50,000 alloys. Will take you about 35 years, or once again, if you've got master builders, you can cut that in half into 18.5 if you can immediately start the process of building the next stage. Now, the Naval Cap is actually kind of interesting. It starts kicking off at stage 2, where you will get yourself 75 naval cap increments per stage, so from 75 to 150 to 225. Your star bases will go up by 5, 10, and 15. Defense platforms 8, 16, and 24 for those insane platforms. And your subspace speed will go up by 5, 10, and 15% for fleets that are quite a lot more nimble than the fleets without this. So the Strategic Coordination Center, actually quite good if you're playing very tall empires, because you won't have as much starbase cap, you won't have that much naval cap, and an addition of 225 when it's maxed out is actually quite good. Also, the ship subspace speed is not really all that applicable to tall empires because you were going to be playing on a fairly small footprint, but still it's something you want to keep in mind, and the defense platforms will basically supplement your naval fleets in order to have a little bit more defense. So don't be surprised to see up to 100,000 fleet-powered star bases out there in the wild. Let's move on towards the Mega Art installation. The Mega Art installation is a curious one because what does it do? It generates you Unity as well as planetary amenities across your empire. Now it kicks off at 5,000 alloys with an influence cost of 300. I think we're seeing to start a pattern here with an upkeep modifier of 5, 10, and 20 energy, which is kind of cool to say the least. We actually also have 30 at the 4th tier. In total, it's got 4 tiers, including the starter platform. It's going to cost you 50,000 alloys to put together. It's just as expensive as the Strategic Coordination Center, but at its max load, it will generate up to 300 Unity and generate a empire-wide amenities modifier of 15%. It will also take you about 20 years to build. It is by far the quickest one to build of the entire set, and you can even cut that down to, well, 10 years. So if you feel that you do not have enough Unity in your empire and you really need to boost that, then the Mega Art installation is definitely the way to go. Let's talk over the Interstellar Assembly. If you are struggling with diplomatic-related items, the Interstellar Assembly is definitely something you want to build. Yeah, basically, it's relatively unique amongst all the MegaStructures in that, in terms of cost, it won't cost energy upkeep, but consumer goods. Which is kind of curious considering, of course, it's being built as well from alloys. The total amount will be 45,000 of those, with the starting platform at 5,000, and then an increments of 10,000, which is totally doable, and will take you about 25 years, or if you have got Mega Builders, 12 and a half. But what does it actually do? Well, first of all, it gives you a diplomatic bonus to all empires in a tiering process. It's got 4 levels. Now it's going from 10, 20, 30, and then there's a skip straight to 50 when the construction is done. So you can effectively get a plus 50 diplomatic bonus to other empires by building this particular structure, which is incredibly useful if you're trying to be on good relations with other empires that see you as prey. Now, it also adds something called immigration pull, which basically means that any empire you've got a deal with in terms of migration will increase that level. So your population will be a lot larger because of this structure. Basically from tier 1 to tier 4, or yeah, tier 5 even, it goes from 25 to 50 to 75 to 100% immigration pull. Basically, this is for empires that want to play the Federation style game, that want to have Xeno compatibility, a large amount of pops, and that sort of thing. Xenophiles and that sort of thing. This fits basically perfectly. Unless you want to be authoritarianism and then mess around with some of the diplomatic modifiers and try to reach out and then try to get the upper hand over other species, this could be an option as well. So how does this actually measure up against the MegaStructures from Utopia? I think every MegaStructure has its own place. The Matter Decompressor and the Dyson Sphere are basically perfect for generating resources within your empire. Minerals, of course, incredibly important to keep your alloy production up and running, as well as all your other stuff. The Dyson Sphere itself, same story there. The energy that you can build basically will allow you to buy infinite resources effectively. However, the Strategic Coordination Center, it has its place, especially the Naval Cap and the Starbase Cap modifier are really interesting. Once again, for tall building empires, this is pretty great. And the Mega Art installation, sure, the planetary amenities are good, but the Unity modifier, I'm not entirely sure if it's a good addition. We'll have to play a little bit with that. And in the Interstellar Assembly, once again, if you're going down the political route, that one looks pretty good. And I'm pretty sure that we're going to get a diplomatic expansion sometime in the future as well. And I think the Interstellar Assembly will shine a little bit stronger once that particular expansion comes out. But still, we'll see whether or not these guys live up to the challenge of the, well, that was slapped down by the Utopia MegaStructures, because the Science Nexus is an absolute instant buy. That's one of the best MegaStructures in the game. The Sentry Nexus, same story there. If you can see everything, it gives you a huge advantage. Ring Worlds, a little bit of a different question there, obviously. Do you want to build a ring world? It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of resources. You can have a lot of planetary tiles. It's 50 per ring world segment, so basically 200 for an entire ring world. Maybe. Personally, the Matter Decompressor and the Interstellar Assembly are pretty damn good. The Strategic Coordination Center has its place. The Mega Art Installation, I guess if you're gagging for Unity, that one right there is pretty interesting, but we'll see how it all pans out. Anyway, we're going to wrap it up here. If you have any more questions regarding the MegaStructures in the game, feel free to give a comment below. We can have a discussion about this. And of course, you can pop on towards Discord. The link for that is in the description. But in the meantime, we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, take good care of yourselves. And as always, each other.